So I know I'm zoomed in, so you can't see this within the context of the rest of the painting. But there's still just too much weight here. And I'm not really trying to put sunshine on this area. What I'm trying to do is take some of the visual weight away from it. Because it's just too strong. And you can't, I don't think you can probably see what I'm talking about from the vantage point right now because I am zoomed in. But that's what I'm doing. I'm just removing some mass, I suppose you could describe it as. You know, the design of it is secondary to the role that it plays in painting as a whole. Not that you want to get, flippant about or disrespectful really of an area like that. But and as I work my way down, and again, this is ultramarine blue, raw umber, and burnt sienna. So yeah, you don't want to get flippant about what you're doing, but you don't have to worry about design too much. As you can see, I'm just kind of going over the paint that was already there, and of course using my knife finger. Put too much paint on this little area. Alright, here we go. Toilet paper. My favorite kind of paper. In fact, I'm pretty sure that even to a novelist, toilet paper is sometimes their favorite paper. Okay, let's not go down that road, but let me just get this lightened up. And maybe what I'll do is back the camera up then. And boy, I've got to remember when you're just filling in small areas, it's okay to overmix your paint because you're not worried about too much variety, especially because you're painting over other paint, right? Wait, just let me grab the tripod. Let me grab the tripod, back it up. No. I think my value went a little bit too high. I got all cocky and confident there for a moment. Now I'm going to have to eat a little bit of crow. And I'm going to have to knock it down a notch. Not much, but definitely a little bit. And now that I've gone very wet and wet with the knife, I might not be able to complete this until tomorrow. Okay, as promised, let's just grab the tripod here. Let's back things off. Sorry about the jiggling. I gotta flip my screen around so I can see what's going on. Okay. Yeah, that's not illustrating it very well. And this is unfortunately one of the limitations of seeing something on a camera versus seeing it in real life. I wanted to bring these values over here, which is done, but now I have a vertical line which I may just... Why should I talk about it? Why don't I just do a bit of that? You know, I talked about how it's possible, so maybe I should back my mouth up a little bit as well. Hey, sorry, I know I'm in the way, but it is what it is. That raw umber. Just even here, I think maybe I went a bit too dark, you know, and just let me play for a moment and we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we can straighten that out a little bit. I don't know if you can hear the crows in the background, but I think when I said I might have to eat crow, they might have taken it a bit too literally. And of course that lines up with that. I shouldn't worry about it. It's so silly to worry about those little things. Okay, well, if that's going to work, I think that in general you can see that this is now a little bit lighter, you know, it's quite a blob. Even though I'm still going to throw a few touches in here, I'm happy with that. You know, multiple tiny changes. Multiple tiny but important changes as you reach the end of your painting. Alright, I think I mentioned this as I have a bit of an issue with it. It's not a big deal. But I would like to, if I have this, fine. But I don't just want to have it do this. I would like to have this maybe more interesting. Maybe let's cut underneath this at some point. I know this is going to look very bright, very intense to you right now. Don't worry about it. Never mind. Mind your own business. That's a bit of cad red. A bit of cad red medium. And a bit of yellow ochre. So I'm far from using the strongest colors I can. far from using the strongest colors that are available to me. Okay, that's more gentle. It's a little more like this rather than just, you know, semicircle. Now, I hate to rub this in, guys, but now that we have the rest in place, which I knew would happen and you did not, I become very high value here. Now, this cabin, this shed, can afford some more intense red. And after that, the area in front can afford some more intense yellow. I'm not going to get carried away because the painting, you know, in approximation to itself, the adjacency of the colors, the juxtaposition of the colors that are here, all in all is pretty good. And, you know, if everything's good, then, you know, if it's good, then why fix it? Because it's not broken. But what I'm going to do is still give a little more strength. Not on the whole area, but see how there's this strength here? That doesn't have to go right through to the ground, but maybe where the light touches the roof, it's also at its most intense, spilling onto the wall a little bit. So I'm gonna say yes, let's go with that. I'm using CAD medium deep. Oh, darn it. Getting too excited here. And CAD red medium. Added into the CAD red medium and the yellow ochre, and the yellow ochre. I know the camera's not picking this up very well. Very few cameras actually do anyway. But my eye picks it up just fine. Now, had I done that from the beginning, I know that somebody would have at least been thinking, at least one well, you know what, most people in general would think that's way too strong, look how garish it is. And I would agree. That's why I kind of reserved the pumping it up till the end, once everything around it is in place. But I like it. It's another overused term, but it helps the cabin or the shed to pop even more. So I want to keep this simple. What I do in here is going to help inform me how to handle this. But that's not important. That's a very easy remedy, and I still look at it as a problem, obviously, because I just used the word remedy. But here's another thing. I'm going to ignore any light that might come in through this little light, this hole in the roof, okay? I'm going to look at the light coming from the upper left down to the lower right, reflecting off the bottom, and indirectly touching items or structure that is within this space. So we'll just bear that in mind. What I've done is I've mixed some raw umber and some burnt sienna together, and I'm just going to try to lay sort of a shape in. There are studs that are used to build this, but what so often happens is that at the base of it, the cheapest, easiest, and newest way of fixing things is to just, you know, nail some plywood along those walls inside to support things. So we'll see. I should not be telling you a story. I should just sort of get to what I'm supposed to do here. So let's do that right now. Never mind the story. It's just a shape. And if it's not straight, if it's not perfect, that's kind of a bonus. It really is. Well, that's one broken line that I think worked out quite well. Now what we'll do is we'll add a little bit of ultramarine blue, just a touch. And we'll come in from the bottom here, underneath this line, and go down. A little more ultramarine blue, because that's really not blue enough. I'm going to try to keep the canvas on here fairly dry. And I probably won't be successful, but you never know. You never know. We need a break in the line. We just can't have horizontal lines going across the entire opening. Right? That would be bad, right? Right? I'm sure you would agree. Well, we don't have to explain every bit of structure. We just don't have to do that. See, we're painting shape. Okay, now we get a bit of white. Whoops, that's too much white. Yeah, that's so hard to control sometimes. Okay, back to the raw umber. And the Brincena. So we already see things are going on in there, and I generally prefer to allow people's minds to do the rest. You know, imagination is just the most wonderful thing. But my goodness, you do want to be careful when you lay your strokes on there. See what I mean? And again, I'm what am I? 18 inches basically from the canvas. And I so am tempted to put a little, yeah, I'd like to put a bale of hay in there, or a wagon wheel, or something like that. But again, I'm zoomed in, and when you're zoomed in, when you look at it closely, you're so tempted to do things that are just a bad idea. I'm not falling for it. And I have a piece of toilet paper in my hand, and I am wiping my knife off readily and regularly. And now for the sake of color, a little bit of ultramarine blue. Let's go over here, because that's also looking into the same area. Okay, that's enough. Another one. That's enough. Whatever that is, doesn't matter. All right. I always find this to be dicey. I spent years in construction. I know what can be done and what cannot be done. I also know that what can and cannot be done, the rules are violated constantly. And that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so what'll I do? I think I'm just going to go back to my ultramarine blue. And I'm going to add a little bit of alizarin crimson to it. And it's going to catch a bit of light on the wall. Oh, that's not quite red enough, I think. Maybe I should be more red, I don't know. Maybe I should be more blue. Yeah. Throw some red in there. I think I'm going to be more blue. Okay, so more ultramarine blue. I'm sorry, I probably sound insane while I'm narrating this, but I'm not, honestly. Well, maybe I am, but I don't know. I don't mean to be. Really what I'm trying to do is put a bit of color in there without drawing too much attention to it. But at the same time keeping it interesting. You know, it's just... It has to recede, it has to be in the building. You know, I don't know that I should do any more. I think it's quite possible that I've done enough damage to that already, eh? What do you think? You think that's okay? And again, the most important part of this is to realize that when we back up, which is now, and I'm gonna flip my screen around, sorry about the jiggling, the context of the entire painting. We want to keep that mysterious, a bit dark. I think I need to touch that just a little bit, but I'm not going to show that right now. Okay, I think that'll do the job. And on we go.